Hey everyone, welcome to our first ever SnapAttack Threat Snapshot. Today we're going to be looking at HermeticWiper, which is a destructive piece of malware that we've seen used by Russia against Ukraine. So this wiper's goal is to provide destruction of the endpoint. Specifically, it's going to erase the master boot record, corrupt files, overwrite them on the system, and pretty much make it unusable. This is, of course, one of the last stages of the attack. So obviously, if we were doing proper detection, we'd want to try and detect this earlier in the kill chain. However, I think it is still worth analyzing this piece of malware to take a look and see what it's doing on the endpoint. So here we have this attack session in SnapAttack, which is our capture of all the keystrokes, the video, the event logs, everything we really know about this attack. So we went ahead, we grabbed a sample from the internet, and we ran this in our platform. And we can see below here some of the key interesting things that occur. So one of the things and how this malware actually does most of its interaction is through this EaseUS partition manager. This is actually a legitimate software application. And again, you would use this for managing and resizing disks, but they're using this driver and shipping with it to avoid detection. Because all of the low-level calls are going to be going through this driver instead of using Windows system calls, which could be more likely monitored or hooked by EDRs. Obviously, this does cause potentially some instability. So they did include the ability to disable crash dumps on the system so that if there was a blue screen of death or some other crash, their malware would not be seen in memory and dumped to the system to, again, try and reduce the visibility of this should there something go wrong and it not actually wipe the system. There are some, again, low-level raw disk read calls that you can see here, which, again, not usually typical on a system, but would be a good indicator. And like a lot of ransomware, HermeticWiper does disable the volume shadow copy service, again, attempting to do whatever it can to avoid there being backups and ways that you can restore the data. So this malware is pretty destructive. Taking a look at some of the analytics that we have here in the system. So this one here is, again, disabling the volume shadow copy service. We can see here DarkSide, the Colonial Pipeline ransomware, was another one that used this technique, but this is also here used by HermeticWiper. We also have that crash dump registry key modification here, which is, again, we can see here HermeticWipers use it, but there's definitely others. It's not necessarily exclusive. This would be a very high confidence analytic. This one is looking at the EaseUS partition manager drivers. And particularly here, there's going to be 4 drivers to look at that are shipped with this malware. 2 of them are going to target Windows XP and the others are going to be Windows Vista and above. And there's a 32-bit and a 64-bit version for each. It's also worth noting that these drivers get installed to a randomized file name. It's usually a 4-digit kind of pseudo-random value. So we can't actually hard code and look for a specific file name here. In our instance here, we can see this was run as hzdr.sys, but that's going to change with every invocation. And bottom line is, again, SnapAttack, we stand with Ukraine here and we want to help. So we are open sourcing and pushing these attack sessions and analytics out to the community. So we've got 4 of these attack sessions in our platform, and we'll continue to add these as we see new threats, as well as 13 analytics here that we want to make available today. So if you like this, if you find these useful, definitely follow us, like and subscribe, because this is going to be a weekly series. We're going to dive into the latest threats.